haven't done a twofer in a while.
No, I was missing it.
I miss my menage a deux.
Well, 4 if you count the microphones.
Yeah. 4 if you, oh my gosh. It's been so long. I smashed it in my face. That's what she said. I feel like I've seen you a lot recently.
Yeah, we've had like some good like hangouts.
We have. It's been too much for me.
And it's going to happen again tonight.
I think I'm an introvert, extrovert.
Yes, I've heard of those before.
Yeah,
That's you, I think. Because you're very forthcoming and very like personable, and you like
What do you mean?
all the good
vagina
things.
stories.
Talking all about your coochie.
All about my vajay.
But secretly, you like to stay at home.
No. I think it's just like I fear going out. It gives me social anxiety. But when I get there, I'm like, this is amazing. Everyone needs to listen to what I have to say, which is like an introvert, extrovert.
Although I did have to sort of make you come out last night.
You did.
Right?
And what happened, Roxy?
Oh, you looked beautiful on the red carpet.
So this is what went down, peeps. So Roxy's like, hey, there's Corey Feldman's premiere. Don't you worry. No one's going to be dressed up. Everyone's going to be in jeans. Come as you are, which I think was just a little manipulation and trying to get me to come because she knows that if I knew that my hair was going to be up in a bun and I could wear flats, I would go. So I was like, how hard is this going to be? I got home, put my kids to bed. I was like, you know what? Just in case, like I just had food poisoning. So I was like, I'm like just that perfect weight. So I was like, I'm going to put this dress on because it's not going to fit next week. So I put the dress on. I was like, you know what? I'll just put a little lippy on. Sean's like, you look super cute. I was like, you know what? My hair's so greasy, but fuck it. Like no one's going to be there. Everyone's going to be in a t-shirt and jeans. I get there and this bitch is like, she's like, the red carpet, are you ready? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And she's like, you need to be on the red carpet with me. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I love you so much, but no, because this is the one picture that will go viral, that will go on Wire Image and Getty Image, and it will go everywhere. And it'll be like, what has happened today? Have you seen them now? Or like, where did they go? That's exactly the heading it's going to be.
Where are they?
What happened to her? And then that's the picture. And I'll be like, no, bitches. It was because my friend Roxy put me on the red carpet with greasy hair. I literally think my lipstick was falling down my face because I was eating like a Cheerio on the way out. And I was like, that is not fair. But I did it.
You did it. And then you made me smell your hair. You were like, I swear to God, it smells like poop. I'm like, no,
oh my God, I didn't even tell you. Literally before it happened, my daughter did a huge blowout. She was screaming. I tried to change it. She put her hand into her butthole and wipes it all over her face. And I'm like screaming because I don't do very well with poop. I mean, who does? So I grab her hand and then she puts it on my face into my hair, hence the bun that is on the red carpet that everyone can see on Wire Image because of Roxy who made me do it. She's done. I'm done with her. We're out.
You're like, and that is the end of the podcast.
We just came back because I swallowed something down the wrong tube. That's what she said. Have you ever done that? And you just laughed at me.
No, not with bodily fluids, but I've definitely done that with like a cocktail. A cocktail.
You swallowed it down the wrong hole.
I swallowed it down the wrong hole. Yeah. But then who posted that picture of us on their Instagram? So who really did look cute in the end.
Well, surprisingly, David took a very high-angled picture with his new phone that has really great filters on it.
Right?
And I was like, I kind of look hot. So it was like absolutely fine.
It's the picture, right?
It's the picture.
So how about that premiere though last night? Wow.
What happened, Roxy Soxy?
Heavy. Well, Corey Feldman released his documentary, My Truth, the rape of the two Coreys. And in it, he'd been sort of, leading up to saying that he was going to be revealing who allegedly had raped Corey Haim. And allegedly, it was Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy,
You don't know exactly what happened. So you obviously want to lean with the victim because what is the point of them coming out and putting the life on the line, especially with something so destructive to someone else's life. And then I think like you don't really know the truth, right? And then I also thought if it was Charlie Sheen, how come he was granted with such a good life? You know, he's on a very successful TV show. He's making, I don't know, don't quote me on, I think it's $1 million an episode. Why do some people, if this was true, do something that is pretty horrific and incomprehensible, how they get gifted with such incredible gifts and opportunities, you know? And sometimes life isn't fair, but I look at it and I'm like, it just, you don't know the rhyme or reason, you know, especially with people like Harvey Weinstein. It's like, look at how much of an exceptional life he had for so long.
Right. It's true. It's like, you know, and he definitely got, you know, the accolades and like the chances, and like he definitely had all the material things because he was making such good money. But at the same point, I'm like, did he actually get a good life because he hates himself so much? Like, you have to have like a certain level of like self-hate to do what he has done to his body, you know?
Oh, yeah.
With all of the, you know, the drugs and like, you know, having sex with the prostitutes and like just treating himself the way he has. It's shame.
Yeah.
It's shame. And it's like, he did get all the good things like in a lot of ways, but in some ways it's like, I feel like he's so tortured that he probably has the negative side of that. But you know what I want to read to you? I want to read to you what Corey said in the documentary.
Read to me.
Because I want to see what your...
The documentary we didn't see.
The documentary we didn't see, which we saw half of, not the rest. Okay, so this is what Corey Feldman said allegedly had happened to Corey Haim. He said that when he was explaining the situation to him, he said, this wasn't a one-time thing he said in passing. Feldman, then this is reported by Page Six. Feldman crying said in the documentary about Haim, it wasn't like, oh, by the way, this happened. He went into great detail. Now, here's the detail. It is disturbing.
Okay. It's a trigger warning.
Yeah, it's a trigger warning. So people, please just be aware of that. Haim told me, now this is what he's saying that Haim told him. Charlie bent me over in between two trailers and put Crisco oil on my butt and raped me in broad daylight. Anybody could have walked by. Anybody could have seen it. And today is the 10-year anniversary of Haim's death from pneumonia in 2010. And also in the documentary, Haim told him that Haim had told him about Sheen's alleged actions or indicate that they had heard about them from secondhand. So the other friends that were in the documentary backed up the fact that Haim either said that to him or that they had heard that. And Feldman in the documentary also calls out other people who abused him. John Grissom, who I believe was a one-time assistant, nightclub owner Alfie Hoffman, and former talent manager Marty Weiss.
And these are the people that abused Haim, not Corey Feldman.
Those were Corey Feldman's abusers.
Corey Feldman's abusers,
yes.
Okay.
So they have all denied that they did any of this. And I believe, because there had been rumors about Charlie Sheen having sex with Haim in the past, which he has denied as well. But this is the first time sort of like the rape allegation has come up. So does that like sway, like with the detail, does that like make you think any differently of like what he
yes
happened?
and no. How old was Feldman when he said the alleged rape happened?
So, Haim was 13 and Charlie was 19. And it was on the set of Lucas.
The sad thing is I don't think it's going to affect much of, you know, Charlie Sheen's life in any way. I mean, he's going to just keep going on. And if this did happen, think about the ramifications of what it's done to Corey Feldman. Right. And obviously we've seen the ramifications that something like this can do to Corey Haim. Yeah. I do know that abusing drugs is because mainly, and this is from the history that I've had with it, not with me taking drugs, but people I've known, comes from an internal turmoil of shame and guilt and pain that you cannot seem to let go of. And so it does make sense that someone would have a drug addiction that is trying to cover up their own sense of hurt and pain and shame again if something had happened to them.
Right. And I think they're very open, especially in the documentary, talking about Haim's struggle with drugs, you know, that he was constantly self-medicating and like, you know, trying to get his hands on drugs because like what you're saying, I mean, it's like the pain probably was so great inside of him and like the self-hatred and like, everything that goes along with it. And it's like, you're just trying to cover that up constantly.
It's sad. And there's so many stories of this in Hollywood because, drugs are obviously so available. They're available everywhere, but it's almost like they can kind of get forced upon you.
Right.
I mean, I remember going to parties back in the day, and I've never done drugs, and mainly because I'm too afraid of A, liking them, and B, if something happened to me. But I remember going to parties and there was like cocaine on plates.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of just the norm. It was like, this is what you do. You're successful, you make money, you're in the public eye, and you take drugs. And it's like that narrative is so normal when it comes to the entertainment business, So, and a lot of people get into the entertainment business or are creative when they're using their own pain into some kind of art form.
Right.
You look at actors, they have to draw from really intense experiences that they've had in their lives to relate to other people, and other people's emotions. So normally people are drawn to this business who have some kind of pain.
Right.
And then they have these other cocktails like, drugs and things that happen that is so rife, like sexual abuse, that makes it even worse.
Oh, God, it's just awful all around. I mean, and it's power really too. Like when you hear about these abusers that do these things, it's, I think a lot of time people think it's about the sex, but it really isn't. It's about wanting ownership over somebody and wanting that power,
And it's weird because I remember, and I've said this before, when the Me Too movement came out, and I was like, you know what, I'm so lucky. I've never had this happen to me. And then I thought, oh my goodness, this has happened to me so many more times than I can even remember. I remember being, 15 years old, and my driver at the time was a heavyset man, and he would drive me like out of the way before getting to my house to be in the car longer with me. And then he would say, oh, what I would do to you if I could.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm grateful and proud of myself that I had a very safe place and a fertile environment to be able to communicate with my parents. So I told them, and he got fired.
Good.
And the amount of times that abuse of power has happened to me is crazy, and it happens all the time. We just don't think that it's an issue.
We're so conditioned to it, right? Especially as women. We're conditioned to being like, oh, he's just being a guy. Boys will be boys. That's the culture. Let it slide. And it's like, for the first time, we're really talking about this stuff and saying it's not okay.
But then my husband said, like, okay, so if a guy walks into a room and says to you, you have a nice hair, like, oh my gosh, your sweater looks so nice, or you have a nice hairstyle, like you just changed your hair. Is that acceptable nowadays, or is it not?
So I think that is, as long as like the delivery and the tone is like of a coming
but
from a
it's not
place.
acceptable, though. I'm going to let you finish, but like it's not anymore.
Yeah, it's hard. It's definitely harder for men to like get to really know what the line is and like to see what the boundary is of like what they can. I mean, personally, for me, I wouldn't be offended if a man was like, oh, I like your sweater, or your hair looks pretty, as long as it's not coming. And that feeling, like if you think it's like, you get that feeling like in your gut.
Yeah.
If it's like, oh, it's coming from an icky place, like they're being like gross about it. But if it's actually coming from like, hey, I just kind of really like your sweater, or like if it's something innocent like that, like where it's,
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the new generation and the younger generation will not put up with any of this. And it's confusing to me because I don't feel like we're that old, but now there's so many different terms. There's so many things you can and can't do. You don't want to step over the mark. Was like, are we allowed to say to a man that he looks attractive, or is it the same thing? Right. And then my question is, I would not want to fucking date now, because there is no, even when it is good, like if it has a good intention behind it, there is no such thing as really flirting, dating anymore. It's all just, I have no idea how my husband would have come to the door and say, like, I think I'm falling in love with you, and 2 seconds later we were naked. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how that would look. It wouldn't happen, and we wouldn't end up together. No. And maybe he shouldn't have done it back in the day, but I'm glad he fucking did. Because if he did, like, we wouldn't be together,
Yeah, you're in a happier place for sure.
Thank God I saw his very small hand towel covering.
You're like,
Just
little
kidding,
towel.
honey. It was a massive beach towel with frills. It's okay.
Well, hello. We don't both believe in test driving the car, right away.
Of
So
course.
it's just one of those things. It's like, and that's the thing too. It's like sometimes chemistry happens and you go with it and it feels good. And as long as both parties are in a consenting place and are okay with it, if it gets a little flirty or what have you, I think that's fine. It just has to be consenting.
Yeah.
That's where it has to, like, both people have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And then individually, I think people can like sort of draw the line, see where the line is for them, and say, okay, this was too much for me, or this, keep going, or whatever it is. So keep going. That's what she said.
Well, it just reminded me of last week's episode with Viola Benson talking about dry humping.
Yeah. Can we bring it back? I really want to bring it back.
We need to bring back the dry hump. Hashtag dry hump. That has gone unnoticed for quite a while.
Yes.
You don't dry hump anymore?
No, and I would love to. I actually looked at my husband the other night after we talked about this.
I'm in need for a good dry hump.
Yes. I was like, I need to just pounce on him and start dry humping because there's something really like. It's like that art is lost of like that anticipation. Because now it's so easy for us being married. You just go right in and have the intercourse. But like,
is that what you do?
I mean, it depends. Like, there's some kissing sometimes.
Is there kissing? I feel like you get married and there's like no kissing.
I mean, it's few and far
between. Like, it's literally
between.
just about the vagina. Like, it's just, there's no kissing.
Like,
have you had a good makeout session lately?
I haven't had like a full blown, for
a long time.
Yes.
That's like the kissing goes out the window.
Yes. And I kind of miss that. I miss those things, right?
Yeah.
The kissing, like even the dry humping, like the anticipation building up to like really,
This poor chafed dick is like, oh my gosh. He's like, please get yourself off my penis, please.
That's why you have to have the cream on the side all for the ready.
So if you went and dry humped David, do you not think he would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get off. Like, get off.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing? You're chafing my penis.
Yeah, you know what he'd probably do? He'd probably like pull down his pants and be like, well, clearly you want my penis. So here you go.
Poor David. I know everything about him. That poor guy.
That poor guy.
I was just like, do you remember we had a friendship group? I don't know if people do this, and if you don't, then you're better than us. But we were at dinner, the four of us, and we were like, well, how big's your husband? And we're like, oh, it's this big, maybe this many inches. So I just say, David, if you're listening, when Roxy's like doing the test of like 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, then I'm so sorry that came from our dinner. But imagine men doing the same thing. It would be so offensive to us. Like, oh my gosh, man, is it so small down there? Like, how small is it? Like this? Yeah. Like, I don't know why they talk like that. It's like, how many inches can we measure? Like, it's just like what women talk about.
Yes.
Like, we're so dirty.
This is what I always tell my guy friends and like tell David and his friends and everyone. I'm like, you guys, we talk so much more graphic and in detail than men do. Men breeze over it. There's no detail involved. It's
they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want their friends to know
about their
wives' vajay.
Yeah, and even like when men are single, they're like, oh yeah, I fucked her, and that's like it. Like girls are like, no,
they're like, it looked like this. It was shaped to the side. It was circumcised or not circumcised. It had a little bump, which I was worried about because I was thinking maybe I should get tested. Women talk about every detail.
Every detail. Size, color,
color,
width,
like hair, no hair, smell, no smell.
So let that be a lesson to you, men.
If there's any men that are listening, just know that women talk about it all.
Yeah, we talk about it all. So you need to groom that shit.
Do you like shave or no?
You mean the balls? I kind of like.
No, his armpits, Roxy. His armpits.
You know what? I'm like the worst though. I ignore the balls. You gotta give little
tender care.
David is just like, will you please?
Is he? He is so embarrassed. I swear to God, he's done. He's done with you. He's not going to stay married after he listens to this podcast.
Totally.
He's done.
I'm so bad. I ignore the balls. But what about you? Do you play with the balls?
I can't tell you. My husband would literally be like, that part is cut out. He doesn't ask for anything.
Okay. But
I love all of it.
So you will go.
But we talked about I would rather someone not be showered though.
Play with the balls? Stinky balls? Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's true. You love your stinky balls.
Yeah. Well, I also like pheromones. Do you know that word? I like pheromones. I like things to smell like like you bought it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be a complete shower down. I don't want to smell lemongrass and vanilla
coconut
oil. Like, I want to smell like pheromones, don't you?
I mean, I do.
Cardamom and like, like lime scrub.
Yeah, like freshly, and then you get like a granule of the scrub in your teeth, and you're like, you're like,
or hair. See, this is too much. This is too much.
I know. People are like, what the?
Yeah, we should go onto subjects and talk about subjects so people don't tune out.
Oh, can I tell you one of these things that I just popped up? No, it's not about, but it's about Hollywood. Do you know that? Okay, now, according to, again, we're back to page 6.
Where you get your news from, Roxy.
You know I love me some page 6. Harvey Weinstein suggested Jennifer Aniston should be killed over sexual assault claim. Because apparently, allegedly...
Did you really say that? You say allegedly a lot.
Okay. Every other word. I'm like, allegedly.
I'm wearing a sweater that has pink stripes. I'm like, I got it. Allegedly. I got it.
Allegedly, the National Enquirer was going to run a story about Harvey Weinstein allegedly sexually assaulting Jennifer Aniston.
No.
When she did that movie Derailed with Clive Owen, like back in like 2005.
Yeah.
So she said that, there was an email that went around, and the Enquirer said that Jennifer confided to a friend that during the production of the 2005 movie Derailed, Weinstein sexually assaulted her by pressing up against her back and grabbing her butt. And then through the years, apparently, he would frequently stare at her cleavage breasts, move around his mouth, making Jennifer feel really uncomfortable. Yes. And so and then another source was saying that Harvey was infatuated with Jennifer Aniston. He had a massive crush on her and constantly talked about how hot she was. And then it all sort of came to a head when that movie was coming out. They were sitting at a dinner table with Clive Owen and Jennifer Aniston and producers and a friend. He literally came up to the table and said to the friend, "Get up." And Jennifer Aniston was like, "Oh my gosh." And so the friend got up and moved away, and Harvey sat down, and she said it was just a gross entitlement and piggish behavior. And then he tried to bully her into wearing a Marchesa dress for the premiere, but she said no.
Now, my question is, why does he want her killed when there's so many stories that have come out about him? Like, why all of a sudden is like this
the one,
story
right?
that really affected him?
So then the email, I guess one of his lawyers sent him an email saying that, that this was happening, the story was going to come out or what have you. And then Weinstein replied back in 45 minutes to this person and said, Jen Aniston should be killed. I mean, allegedly, like,
I don't know.
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy. You know what? He's in jail.
He's in jail.
It's time to move on from the Harvey scandal. The EPA released a list of approved disinfectants to kill the coronavirus.
Yeah, what can we use?
Yeah, Clorox, I think. The Environmental Protection Agency released a list of disinfectant products approved for the use of COVID-19 on surfaces. You can find those list of products right here. I'm sure it's Purell.
Okay.
Right? Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. It's all the really nasty ones. It's like nothing natural comes up. That's when I'm like
chemical.
Maybe natural isn't working. This thing called bleach, obviously, peroxide.
Okay.
Detergent disinfectant pump spray from Seepton Company. There's like a lot here. So we should post it and people should check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll post this.
Yeah.
Oh, Clorox is on there.
Lysol.
Yeah.
Cleaning solutions, Sterilex.
Wow.
But then they just came out and said that maybe it's in people's food.
Really?
Yeah, like maybe it can be transmitted through that.
Through food. That's the thing. It just seems so. That's the thing I think that freaks me out the most about it is it's so easily transmissible. Like between people, it's like the same with the flu. So it's just like those droplets, like from the air, like falling in. But I did hear that, like, if you wear glasses, this is good for you.
Oh my gosh.
This is good for you.
It won't get in my eyeballs.
Yes, it protects your eyeballs. Because there was some statistic, like 70% of it goes into your eyeballs. And that's how you get it. So you are covered, girl, because you are
Thank you. Well, I just stopped wearing glasses, though. I'm going to stop wearing them. I'm done.
Why?
I'm done having glasses. I don't know. I think I used to wear them because in a way, I like to hide behind them. So it's like I couldn't really,
Yeah.
you know, when you're in film and TV and people do recognize you to some extent, when you take your glasses off, you can't see who's looking at you.
Ah.
And I liked that. Not that I'm, you know, but the anonymity sometimes when you're in certain places, I like.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm like, you know what? I just need to be present and not be anxious about the world all the time.
You know?
I think it's about what your parents used to freak out about.
Yes.
Don't you think? My mom didn't really
Yes.
freak out about getting sick.
See,
Did
that's,
yours?
yes.
See, that's why I think it's really, yep.
Yep. So anytime I hear a cough or sneeze or like, I'm like, oh God, I've got to step like at least 6 feet away from that person.
Yeah.
You know, so don't take when I Purelled you to death, like seriously. I mean, don't let that hurt you.
Think about, you know what is really clean? Our vaginas.
Oh.
Think about it. Do they really touch the world?
No, they really don't. Well, some
really don't.
do. But
Yeah, I mean, well, some see a lot of the world. They have little hats and they have sunglasses on.
and they say hello, hello.
They have little phones that they're like texting. Oh my gosh, we should do a vagina cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a good idea.
Yes. What should it be called?
Ooh. What should our vagina cartoon be called?
Becky.
Becky and Beth.
And what should they do?
They should do, oh, what should they do?
They should walk the streets.
All night long.
Yeah, and they're clean freaks.
And they love tacos.
They love tacos because they look like them.
And they like to,
They like to solve crimes
yes, with their little magnifying glasses.
with their little magnifying glasses.
Uh-huh. And they like to,
See, I'm improving you right
I
now.
know.
Because Roxy just started improv.
it's quite the game changer.
It is.
I've got to say.
It teaches you about life.
Yes, it really does. It
does.
You know what it does? It teaches me. This is so crazy. So the first day I went in,
Can I snack, by the way?
take your snacks.
Roxy thinks I snack all the time. And I kind of do. I was in yoga doing an downward dog. And I'm like, you know, been in this position before having a snack.
You're like, gotta multitask.
Multitask.
So the first day I went into improv, I was like, okay, like I didn't really know what to expect. So I kind of just got in and everyone's kind of trying to figure it out, right? So it's like, you're just in there. And I'm like, okay, like it's fine. It's like not that bad, whatever. I came back the second day with a false sense of confidence from the first day and went in
Because
there.
the first day they're like, what's your name?
Yeah. It's
Where
like
are you from?
So easy, right? And I walk in and I'm like, okay, so I got this. And I walk in, I literally bombed the class. Like it was like awful. Like I just couldn't, it wasn't like firing in my head. Like I couldn't like come up with things. I like, it was definitely a like, you need to check yourself because like, you're not that good, okay?
Did they do the first beats and second beats, or did they just say come up with a subject and then sort of riff on that? Because the main part about improv is finding the game, which is like what is the funny of the scene, and then playing off that game. So, you know, for example, I did a sketch, an improv the other day about a mother who's so overbearing. So, you know. Well, she couldn't let go of the fact that her child is growing up, so she kept like his foreskin in like a little yellow alcohol solution, and his porn magazines that like were stuck together in the middle from him masturbating. So you got to find what the funny is, and then you have to play off that. Were they teaching you that in the first class?
So the first class was more like making us comfortable, and it was like, okay, like names, like we do the name game, or we do these drills where you like throw the ball at it's a lot of eye contact. So it was like, and then like a lot of listening games where you had to listen to what the last person had just said. And then you play off of like what they said. So that was sort of like the first like day. The second day got a little more complicated because it was like 2-person scenes with the space work and everything. And then it was like, you know, they just give you like your 2 surgeons, like go. And it's like, okay. And you've established like what your relationship is and where you are and like all the things, who, what, where, you know?
I love that you're talking the same language as me right now.
Isn't it great?
You're making me horny.
Oh, like I do. But yeah, no, so it was like doing that same, like that, all that work. So being thrown into that and like not really knowing like what the hell.
That's life though. And I think everyone should do an improv class because you learn about how to be thrown in the deep end with nothing in your brain and try to survive in a way and try to listen. I think so much in life, we are so disconnected from people And yet we're so connected in so many ways through social media, but we're so disconnected and we don't listen to people anymore and we don't have conversations. What I love about improv is you cannot do a good scene unless you're present and unless you're listening to the other person.
Yes.
You cannot be in your own head. You cannot have your own bullshit. You have to be exactly where you are. And that is the only way to succeed in improv.
100%. It is so about being in the moment, listening to that person and not denying people. Like you can't, say,
you can't say no.
It's crazy.
In improv, yeah.
So it's like you're on a desert island with a stick and like a bat, and your
like,
name
sure.
is like,
Where's the stick? And you can't ask questions.
No, you can't
You have
ask
to
questions.
add information.
Yes, you have to add information, and it's all assumptions too. Like like whoever you're working with assumes whatever about you, and you have to just go with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it is so like eye-opening, and it's so cool. Like
It's so cool.
It's so cool, right?
Until you're on stage and there's like 50 people looking at you and you've shat a little bit in your pants and there's like a skid mark right there when you take your pants off and you're like, yep, that's because I had to go on stage and do improv in front of all these people. I'm going to do stand-up, by the way.
Oh my God.
I feel like that's better because I have a fucking compass and a map of like what to follow when it comes to standing in front of people.
Yeah.
It's the stage fright I have to get over.
Stage fright is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Right? And it doesn't matter how like skilled you are, how many years you've done it.
No.
It's fear. It's something that never goes away. So how do you deal with that?
Oh my God, I'm afraid of everything. But I realized that the only way for fear to win is to avoid.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's just,
You think by avoiding that you're keeping yourself safe and you're self-protecting, but it's like everything, even in relationships and in your own work, is like when you avoid, it gets worse.
it gets worse. And
The only way out is through, and it sucks while you're going through it, and you have to feel the feelings and feel them anyway, and everything that you want is outside of the comfort zone, and your real life is happening not where you're comfortable. And, you know, I'm listening to Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, and I sent it to you about, you know, being vulnerable, especially in relationships, and you think that by being alone and isolating yourself and your feelings and not connecting with people that you're keeping yourself safe, but you're actually making yourself more lonely.
Right.
And it really is about being vulnerable, and that's what improv teaches you. It's about standing there naked, you know, with no armor and having to survive.
Right. Yesterday we had I was like, okay, I'm going into this class, like totally not gonna care. I'm gonna let it go at the door. Like,
Yeah, you're just like, you gotta
fucks.
talk yourself up. You're like, 0 fucks. Who are these people? They're bad anyway.
Totally. I'm like, can't do it. And we had this, oh my God, it was the craziest game. It was write a poem about, like, they're just going to give you a subject, but you have to say what your name is. You have to create your character, like, on the spot and make up a poem on the spot. And it was so freaking hard. I was
So hard.
dying. We actually got like a relatively okay subject. It was cats,
Oh, yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
furry cats.
You
blah,
like
blah, blah.
cats, right?
Yeah.
I hate cats. Sorry, you're a cat person. Only because I'm allergic to them, because I'm like, so I feel like they're against me from day one.
They're like, oh, I'm going to come after you. I'm going to get
I'm
you.
going to get you an asthma attack, bitch. I'm like, fuck up. No.
So I came up with this character called she had a stutter, and she was her name was Sarah Sampson, and she was a crazy cat lady. And I wanted to
That's so cute. Was it good? Did everyone love it?
I mean, people were like, kind of like, I was like, I mean, I think they responded to it. I think, but everybody in the class, for some reason, their game was up yesterday. I think, and I think that brought everybody sort of up,
Right?
Because people were like, okay, like we're gonna go in with 0 fucks or whatever their like reasoning was. So it helped, like the collective class.
Yeah.
You know,
I find it hard these days though, because jokes used to be, and this is what I'm learning in stand-up, you could kind of, and some of it is, you shouldn't just be able to have a free range of saying whatever you want. But even the Sarah, people might say you can't do that because you're making fun of someone with a stutter. So it's like there's so many, not that you want to make fun of anyone, but like even on my social media on International Women's Day, I said, you know, there's a picture of me really pregnant and I look massive. I've gained like 50 pounds. And I said, you know, two 10-pound babies I've had out of this 5'5" body. And women are badasses.
Right.
And then I said, have you seen a man with a cold? ?
Oh.
So many people were like funny, like thought it was really funny and like were laughing at it. And then I had some comments of like, how dare you put men down and think that you're better than a man? We live in a society where we should all be equal. And I totally agree with that. And if you've listened to this podcast and you know anything about me, I'm all about equal rights for both sexes. I don't think that we need to be successful by stepping on a man. That's not how I feel. But if we can't take a little joke about how men are a little bit of crybabies when they have a cold that everyone talks about and knows about. And it's not putting a man down. If we can't have a little joke about something as simple as that, like we've lost all levity and lost all sense of being able to laugh at ourselves in a way, Yeah.
And then like, what is comedy then? Like, where does the line get drawn? It's
Right.
like, I think comedy by nature is supposed to be a little, I don't want to say like un-PC, but
Right. It can't, there's nothing you can joke about now.
there's nothing you can joke about now. And even like with the stuttering character, like that was a feature that it was a characteristic that she had.
Right.
But I wasn't making fun of the stuttering. It was like just part of her, right? But I think it added like a funny sort of element to it. But like,
I'm sure that girl's real fun at a party. I just told you, like, I'm sure she's a fucking hoot to go out with.
so Sarah.
No, not even the person on my fucking Instagram. I'm like, that person must be like real fun. Like, bring her along.
I know. That's the thing too. I'm like, do people, how do they have like, and it goes back to like those online bully type people. It's like, how do they have all the time in the day to like go and troll people? Like all day long. Like,
yeah. And I don't even know. And yes, I do get trolls, but it's more just like, our world has become so sterile in so many ways. And like, even for performers, no one's laughing and putting down the actual person who's got a stutter, let's say. They're making fun of the situation that person might be put in,
Right.
And I don't know, I feel like we've become again so PC that we can't even joke at ourselves, And it's like, life is hard enough as it is. If you can't laugh, I think you're going to cry. So it's like, we need to inject a little bit of levity within reason.
And also like the ability to laugh at ourselves, right? Because like that to me, I mean, self-deprecating humor is great. And I'm like, as much as I can dish it out, I like to even like laugh about myself. So it's like, like people I think lose that also. And it's like, it's everyone's in it for the fun, you know, like if you're really truly in it for the right thing, I mean,
I thought like, it's one of my stand-up jokes was like, oh, I left my kid in the car. Don't worry, I rolled down the window. And like, I was like, I can't say that joke, because people are like, what? Are you saying that that's what you do with your kid? I'm like, it's a fucking joke. Of course I didn't leave my kid in the car.
Right.
I was like, don't worry, I rolled down the window. So it's just, it's a funny thing.
It's a funny thing. It's like people take everything so seriously now.
So seriously.
Yeah, it's like, where's the fun?
Where's the fun?
It's on Women on Top. I'll tell you, that's where the fun is.
So anything else happened this week, Roxy, before we sign off for these lovely listeners?
Well, I'm just so excited that I get you 2 nights in a row this
fuck, I have to
week.
go out again
You're
tonight.
going out.
I'm wearing the same dress.
You have
And
to.
no
It's so
pictures.
good.
No pictures.
Girl, you should wear that dress, though. Actually, it was pretty cute. Pretty cute.
So I'll see you again tonight, Roxy Sexy.
Yes, you will.
And I love you guys.
Love you guys. And don't forget to
rate, subscribe, and comment on what you want us to talk about.
And 5-star ratings are great.
Yeah, this was a pretty in-depth chat that we had today. Don't worry, we still have our naughty fun sex talk that we'll still bring back to business. It's just been pretty normal, our sex lives, right?
I feel like it's like pretty like
yeah. Pretty, what happens when the heart monitors go and then they just flat? Yeah. It's been pretty flatline right now.
We'd love to hear about your sex lives, though. Tell us.
Yeah. Have you had sex recently?
I have had sex. Oh, wow. It might have been, no, it was like a week and a half ago.
Wow.
A week and a half ago.
Is that good?
I could do with a little more pop.
Who instigated it?
It was mutual.
Oh, mutual sex. That's always nice.
Sometimes we catch the glimmer in the eye of the other.
Where were you?
We were in the living room.
During the day?
No, it was at night.
And you just looked at each other.
Yeah, we just looked at each other, and because he does little things where he throws little comments sort of around. Like he'll be like,
does he do that?
He'll do. You go.
You just go.
He will just be like, hey, like it's less what he says and more like how he looks. Like
Okay.
I can tell he wants it. Like
Oh yeah, Sean becomes like when he does want it. But again, I give him so much of it that it doesn't happen as much because I always instigate. But when he does it, it's kind of he'll be like. I think I'm laughing because I can like visualize what he does. It becomes like sort of like this. And if you're watching this podcast, you can see my facial expressions. Kind of like his eyes kind of go wide. He's like, yeah, like how's it going? And then like he'll like, yeah, I don't know.
What's up?
And he was like, he kind of just like perks up, like he kind of like he's fristles. I don't know if that's a word, but it feels like that's what it is. And he starts to just kind of be a little touchy feely, and he'll be like, yeah, so you look cute, and it's like he fristles. It's like this weird thing that comes over him.
That's cute. It's like a flirt.
Yeah, he's like, how's it going? Yeah.
You're like, good.
But Dave is like,
he's like, come here.
He's like, yeah, bitch. You should be signing off, but I feel like there's more subjects to talk about. I was on the street on Larchmont in Los Angeles, which is a nice street in LA, and this guy had his window rolled down. He was listening to music, and it was really loud. And the music that came out, and we might have to beep this, was this guy yelling, got bitches on my dick, got bitches on my dick, got bitches on my dick, and I was like,
wow.
Now, back in the day, I don't think I would have even thought about it, but raising two young girls, I was like, no. We need to be more accountable when it comes to music. And maybe I've become that person where like everything's like is PC, has to be PC. But I'm like, our young girls listening to music, bitches on my dick and bitches, is like they are getting these biased messages about women and how they should be treated.
Right.
Like, it's like, you bitch, get on my dick, And I was like, no, we need to be better.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're right about that. And music is such a force that like it spreads like wildfire.
Oh, yeah.
It's like mass, So it's like when they hear that, you're right. It's like the mixed messaging. So they could be taught whatever at school or whatever at home. But then if they go out in public or with their friends and somebody's listening to something like that, then it's like, oh, maybe I should be like that. Maybe I should be on somebody's dick,
Right.
like it's mixed.
Absolutely. It's also these bias messages that they get into their brain that subconsciously comes out in the way that they behave and treat men as well.
Right.
My friend who we have to have on here, she's my best friend, and she now works at Stanford. She works a lot with, our culture and societal culture. And she said that even Alexa, when you say, hey, Alexa, you look hot, she goes, thank you.
Really?
Or like, hey, Alexa, your skirt is really short. She goes, something like that. Don't quote me exactly, but it's messaging around that. She goes, that's so nice of you to say.
Oh, that's
and it's like this white man bias. And again, I have nothing against white men because I'm married to one and I love them. But it's the people who are behind the messaging that are teaching our children how to think about themselves and women how to think about themselves. Like, how dare we say like, your skirt's too short or whatever. And they go, oh, that's so nice of you to say. It's like these hidden messages that are happening that are consistent and constant around us all the time.
All the time.
That we are not aware of because it's subconscious. And they say that 80 to 85% of what happens is subconscious. I think it's probably even more than that. I should get my facts straight before I say them. But it's something like our subconscious rules what we do rather than our actual conscious.
See, that's scary. She should be like, what the fuck did you just say?
Right.
Like, come again. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Not happening. And shut your trap.
Yeah. But it's scary. It's like there's so many of those messages that we just don't think about, and we talk about it a lot in this podcast, and I think it's because I'm raising two young women and I want them to feel like their body is their own choice and, they shouldn't be treated a certain way, and music like, bitches on my dick. It's like, I don't want them to feel the need that they have to have sex with a man because it's not what they want to do, but it's because it's expected of them.
Right. Or it's somebody else's expectations put on them, you know? And if they don't want to have sex for a long, I mean, like, you know, to whenever, like after obviously consenting age, but there's no rush to have sex, you know? It's like, there's no hold on to your virginity, you know? I mean, it's not that great anyway when you first.
Did you feel like you lost your virginity because you had to at that certain time? Or did you feel like you're like, oh, I'm getting to 18, 19, whatever. It's like what I should be doing. Or did you lose it because you were in love with the person?
Yeah, I think it's more like the first, like, How about you?
It was my first boyfriend.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was like, okay, this is, and I did love him. Yeah, but it's so confusing. It's such a confusing time. And I know that young people probably listen to this podcast as well because of Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
And it's like youth, they say youth is wasted on the young because you have so much opportunity and you look amazing and, you know, you feel great and you're not tired all the time and you don't, you know, have hemorrhoids. Just kidding. Sort of, really. But yet you're kind of, I wish I could go back and put cotton wool on myself and say it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have to live your life for other people and men. And my whole life was about satisfying, not all of it, but I wanted to please a guy. And so even in therapy, I realized that when I don't get sex, I feel like I'm not wanted and I'm not enough. And and that word shame, I feel like shame comes over me. Like, why do I feel like I need to be intimate with a man to feel better about me?
Right.
And that comes from always wanting a man to want me. And if I get that attention from them, then I am enough.
Okay. So that's where the sex.
I think so. Because I think I called you the other day and I was like, why do I get so frustrated and angry when I don't get what I want when it comes to sex?
Right.
Like, why do I feel like anger? But anger comes from pain. Like, anger is not a primary emotion. It comes from something else. It's something hidden.
Deep-rooted,
it's deeper. And you don't do that. Like, if Dave was like, I don't want to have sex with you, your whole day doesn't derail because you feel like you're not worthy.
Yeah. No,
it doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, it doesn't happen to me. I mean, I definitely don't like rejection, obviously. Like, so that definitely hurts my feelings. But I tend to like lash out. Like if something like that, anger, right? Exactly, which is pain, you know. But for me, yeah, it's sex. It's not. It's not as deep rooted for me, you know. But I mean, I think for me, with men, I think if he doesn't show me affection in other ways, like if he's not doing something nice for me or
love languages, like at least one of the love languages,
right?
Which is words of affirmation, acts of service, and physical touch. Those are the three.
Those are the three. Okay. So for me, I think it's like acts of service. Like if he doesn't do nice things for me, then I'm like, something's wrong here. And then I lash out.
Get down, bitch.
Get this shit now.
Get it. Go down there.
Dude, I'm a pussy. Dude, I'm a pussy.
You're so going to cut this out. So I'm like, I don't even know why you said that word. You'll be like, every time we edit podcasts, you're like, please take out this word. I'm like, so all the good words are gone. There's not one buzzword we can use to promote the podcast. Jeez.
That was going to end up on the cutting room floor.
So you won't hear what we just talked about. No, you probably will, because now she's like, I made a joke of it, so it's fine.
It's good. Okay. Yeah. You're laughing.
By the way, talking about that, do you like oral sex?
You mean if he's giving it to me?
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite.
I love it, but it was never like the first on the menu, but I do love it because Sean's so good at it.
Okay, see? So you come to love it.
So David likes it. He's good at it.
He likes to do it. Yeah, so he's good. And he's like steadfast about it.
Yeah,
he's
same.
Like,
he's just like, same motion, continuous, like, which is great. And I told you that I never, ever tell Sean, ever.
Because then they switch it
when
up,
you get close. Like, if a woman tells a man when they're close, all of a sudden they get so excited and they like change everything about it up. And you're like, so I'm just so quiet and so right to the end. And I'm like, and He's like, what just happened? And I'm like, oh, I just didn't tell you. Yeah.
You're like, until he like wipes his
Oh my God, Roxy, I am not like you. I have normal things that go on down there. There's not like weird bodily fluids that come out of my body. It's just normal down there. There's no wiping of his eyeballs or anything. It's normal.
You mean
What
he
is
just
happening
doesn't
to
get
you?
the face wall?
You're like, oh, I have a shower cap on. He has a shower. He has a shower cap on. He's got like towels.
Just
He's
in
like,
case.
yeah, just in case. Roxy, I have to wipe my face. What is going on? Poor David. I feel sorry
Poor
for David.
thing. I know. He's like, why? He
David.
always dreads the 2 for episodes too. He's like, he just said that this morning. He's
dreads the
like,
what?
the 2 for episodes when it's just you and I. He's like,
yeah.
I'm going to get talked about, right? I'm like, he's like, I know. I'm going to get talked about.
But no one, this is the thing about David. No one, you don't really put him that much on your social, do you?
No.
Okay, so like I feel like everyone knows my husband
Yeah.
because I put him on my socials so much. The poor guy, he's like not into it. Does David like your social?
No, he does not.
He
He
hates
likes-
it. We have fights about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, people are not gonna think I'm married anymore. So he's like, I'm just doing this for you, and I'm like, yes, you're fucking just doing this for me, so people actually think that I have a husband.
Yes, you're like, you have to put him on. David hates being in pictures
Hates
or on the
it.
camera
Hates
or
it.
anything. So
Hates
it's
it.
like,
Hates it.
right? Is he a good Instagram husband? Will he take the pictures for you?
We get in fights about that. So we go
Me
to therapy
too.
about it because he's like, I'm like, can you just fucking look for a
Yes.
good angle?
Yes.
He's like, why do I have to look the worst I've ever looked in your pictures? Although David took a good picture last
don't think he
night,
did.
so that's good. He can't be that mad.
He did pretty well. But he was like, if he doesn't get it in the first few snaps, he's like over it. He's like, oh, I'm not going to like stand here.
Yeah.
And then like, no, I'm like this angle or like
Yeah.
a skinny angle or like up higher, you know.
I still want to accept myself so much that I wish we didn't have to do any of that stuff.
Right,
I really
angles
do.
and filters.
Yes, I just wish we just stopped. All of us stopped all
Yes.
at once. And everyone's like, oh, that's what real people look like.
Right.
You know, so we don't have to do all this stuff to our face. Just live.
Live, like, just let it be
Who
what
cares?
it
Like,
is.
bigger lips doesn't make anyone love you more. It just doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I don't know. I do it to myself too. I get it. Like I'm not obsessed, but like I look in the mirror and I want it to be better.
Yeah, of course.
I haven't done anything yet, so I'm like worried when I do.
See, I know that's the thing. I'm like,
Put my ass on my face.
just easier access.
Yeah. I have so much to talk to you about, but we should probably leave.
I know. On that note,
On that note,
we what are our handles?
jeez, Women on Top official on Instagram, and we're gonna like spruce up our Instagram starting like now.
Yes, like right this minute.
Starting right this second. Yeah.
And Women on Top podcast on Facebook.
And we love you guys, but you have to, okay, because we know how many people listen. And there's quite a lot of you that listen, which kind of makes me feel humbled and excited about the future. But all those people who are listening are not commenting. We need people to comment and subscribe and rate, because what that does is it helps bump the podcast up to the top of iTunes, which means more people can listen and means we can do more of this and we can actually travel and meet you guys and do a tour and do merchandise and like have drinks with you. And so many fun things can happen if you rate and subscribe and comment. So please, please, please do that so we can come see you guys.
Yes, and tell a friend about the podcast. If you love it, tell a friend.
Yeah,
and they'll listen, and then we'll come and have drinks and party and get down and talk dirty and do all the things.
Talk dirty.
Talk dirty.
Talk dirty. Okay, well, we love you.
We love you.
And we are Women
on Top.